atheism as an action or an event is a kind of unbinding from a contract or a duty by, of course, denying the being to whom the debt is owed. It doesn't usually ask what it means even at all to exist, probably inheriting a kind of Cartesian, arguably, notion of the existence of something as a thing in what it calls space, which is a kind of substance of existence, because you can't ask whether space itself exists, because anything else that exists has to, of course, exist only in relation to that mandatory thing which exists, which of course inherits the role God had played in theology as the being that had actually created all other things. So it's a real, that thing exists. Of course, if it's created either as an individual or as a species, it's a possibility to be by the creator. But long story short, going back to the original thread on atheism as kind of breaking of a commitment, a denial not only of a being, but implicitly of a covenant, because obviously if you're an atheist, why would you go to church? Why would you pay tithes? Maybe in Germany, I suppose you would, but that's the state church tax. It's another matter altogether. It's completely different, right? But the only perhaps not so trite thing to say in this regard is that if atheism is a perdurant ideological position, then it becomes a commitment rather than the massive radical opposition to all commitment whatsoever, which is what it should be. That's how it should annihilate itself then, as an ism. It shouldn't even be an ism. And do we want to ask whether the denial of the creditor to whom all debts are due, or the lawmaker to whom obedience is owed, has anything to do with Zarathustra's, Nietzsche's Zarathustra, the lion who says, "I will not," which, of course, in the three metamorphoses, the spirit succeeds the camel who enjoys taking on a heavier and heavier burden. What does that remind you of? Well, anyone who enjoyed originally fasting, especially the benefits of the actual physiological benefits of fasting, besides whatever psychological debts it pays off, gives you a kind of jubilee from an excessive sense of sin, perhaps. So the camel, of course, it takes on a heavier and heavier contract, not necessarily in the hopes of being more abundant and wealthy and able to pay off, but maybe that's the effect, who knows. Now, theism, would seem to be a commitment or a binding, if you will trust that metaphor.